Hello everyone, this is Chris Adams with ModernAnalyst.com, the premier online community for business analysts. I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar titled, How Analysts Can Easily Conquer Today's Data Challenges. Today's featured speaker is Rebekah Anderson, Director of BI for Concordia University, Portland. She will be presenting alongside Joanna Schloss, Dell Subject Matter Expert for BI. The webinar will last approximately 60 minutes, including a Q&A session. So make sure to submit your questions in advance using the questions feature of the webinar software. I would also like to say thank you to Dell Software for sponsoring this event. And at this time, I will turn it over to Joanna to get us started.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everyone. Good day. My name is Joanna Schloss, and I am, as Chris said, the subject matter expert here at Dell for their Center of Excellence. And joining me today is Rebekah Anderson, who's excited to share her very interesting and innovative use case. Before we hear from Rebekah, let me take a moment to chat with you about Dell Software. So you might all be on the line wondering, Dell Software doesn't often come to mind as a first-of-mind solution. But Dell does have software, and in fact it has been a priority for Dell and a strategic direction for Dell for the last few years. And with the conclusion of the acquisition of Quest Software, the information management portion of their portfolio became very robust. And as you can see, that's in the green box. But in addition to information management, we actually have a very broad range of solutions that can be leveraged for our customers to manage everything from security, data protection, bring your own device, mobile management. And also, of course, we have the new technologies emerging in the cloud and in the data center management capabilities. But I sit in the information management side, and today we're here to talk about analytics. So what is Dell's vision around analytics, and why have we moved into this space? We are in the business of enabling agile business intelligence. And we realize that in today's marketplace, this still is a top-of-mind priority for many customers. As you can see in the next slide, Gartner did a survey recently where this is in 2011, where they looked at what were the #1 priorities for CIOs. And really, the numbers show that CIOs are still very interested in investing in business intelligence. In fact, more than half, 57% of CIOs plan to invest in BI this year. And that's really motivated by a variety of functions within the marketplace. Both there is a tremendous amount of data growth, just plain information growth. But among the data growth, there is also a variety of ways that we consume, share, and obtain data, which changes our data environment completely. And lastly, the data growth is creating a boon of ways that we can use this information in theory, right? So this notion of analytics has become very, very popular and top of mind. As you can see, Gartner Survey of last year, analytics and BI is really the #1 priority of CIOs. So understanding that this is a requirement for some of our businesses, Dell realizes that we can offer a solution for business intelligence and business analytics. But before we can address that, we wanted to look at how important BI projects have fared in the last 10 to 15 years, because of course BI is not a new technology, but it still is a top of mind issue. We know that by our customer surveys and our experiences with our clients that a lot of business intelligence projects fail for a variety of reasons, and we've just listed a few of them here for both data discovery projects as well as traditional BI projects. A lot of these projects have poor usability, which ends in poor user adoption and a lot of shelfware of technology. A lot of these solutions are lacking in agility, which means that as they get rolled out, they become obsolete. And as you saw in the previous slide, growth of data means that these systems really need to be agile to be able to accommodate these rapid changes in the environment. And if we're not able to address agility, then of course the information becomes irrelevant, because as more information comes on board and the systems are not able to evolve to meet this, absorb this new information and build out more complete views of the analytics, it becomes quickly irrelevant, and our users of course find means to circumvent the systems and bring that relevancy back, because we're still making decisions based on this type of data. And as an end result, traditional BI projects often have failure components. They don't fully fail, but they have areas where the project rollout has not yielded or achieved what they had hoped to attain at the beginning of the project. And as an outcome, another part of the market has exploded, and that's the data discovery side. Again, motivated by the fact that there is a tremendous amount of information out there. Organizations, specifically business-focused departments, have gone off and purchased visualization environments, data discovery environments, or even just much more robust search environments. And that spawned several other components that yield failure modes, like areas where we can fail. And that really has created shadow IT, where these IT organizations actually sit within that department. And then these departments then require support from IT, the traditional corporate IT, to access data and to get at the information that they want to combine to have, greater visualized content. But of course, as that happens, the data becomes ungoverned because of the way that there's sort of an outside component of analysis activities going on. And ultimately, the shadow IT and the corporate infrastructure start to have conflict, and instead of working together, they feel often that they're working against one another. Here at Dell, we believe that there are three primary components to achieving greater success within the business intelligence projects. And the balanced approach involves three components: people, processes, and technologies or solutions. And we believe that all these three tools, processes, and workflow converge into a very achievable and success-oriented business intelligence project. And that's because as you address the needs of the people, we want to address them with fast, easy, and agile tools. And as the tools that are rolled out are fast, easy, and agile to consume by the people, the tools are then rolled out as flexible and complementary, recognizing that people have their preferences. And then finally, the processes bind them together to create a holistic and governed view. So these three things come together in hopes of helping our organizations, our customers, and our technology solutions meet the needs of these BI and BA business analytics initiatives, and hopefully bring them to greater fruition and greater penetration and have greater use cases. So that introduces this idea of Dell's overarching business intelligence and business analytics solution. So our vision is to provide rapid business insight and value without compromising IT's governance. And how do we do that? We do that with a solution called Toad Business Intelligence Suite. It has 4 tenets, and the 4 tenets really focus on helping our organizations, again, with that the confluence of the 3 processes, right? We want governed, agile, limitless access, and collaboration as the capabilities that we're looking to deploy, as well as deploying a very valuable solution. So having a governed solution is highly important, because we want those line of business folks that we had chatted about who had gone off to build out analytic solutions in their departments to collaborate highly with their corporate infrastructure, because that really enables you to have a complete view of the data and the information. But you also want these departments to work together in a streamlined fashion, and that also enables you to enjoy economies of scale, which goes back to our value conversation. Agility. The 2.0 solution is really focused on building agile solutions. It snaps in alongside your current environment, and it leverages whatever capabilities you've already invested in today without having to layer on top a solution that does not take into consideration the investments that you've made today already. Collaborative. We know that in order for these groups to actually work together, the solution set itself has to have a very powerful collaboration platform, which is what 2.0 has actually focuses on deploying out to the organization without sacrificing governance and agility, which is a tricky, it's a tricky task to achieve. And finally, we recognize that all three together really need to derive greater value for that organization. And so the Toad BI Suite really is all about leveraging your self-service business intelligence across your heterogeneous data environments. So that was the tenets for the 2.0 environment. What does that look like in a very quick nutshell? As you can see, we talked about limitless connectivity, and you can see just a sample of the limitless connectivity in that purple layer for the data sources that we're able to access. The data sources are accessed through our collaboration server, which is the Toad Intelligence Central. All three of these components that I'm going to speak of make up the BI Suite. The intelligence server gives us limitless connectivity while focusing on collaboration, while focusing on the ability to deploy self-service data access or data integration to both our very technically savvy business analysts as well as our, of course, technically savvy business analysts that sit in IT, which we call data provisioners. To the data provisioner, we really provide DataPoint, which is a very, very powerful and robust environment for queries to be created, for what we call cross-platform queries to be executed, for automation scripts to be run so that queries that are repetitive can be done in a very secure, sanctioned, and non-labor-intensive fashion through technology automation. Just for example, DataPoint is a powerful tool that really gives that data provisioner the tool that they need to very quickly combine heterogeneous sources for the purposes of analysis. And then, of course, sharing that back into their collaboration suite, we actually can publish that content into the collaboration suite and then share that with our business analysts who are deployed out on DecisionPoint, which is really a data discovery and visualization environment where they take that data and convert it into information. They can mash it up a second time with desktop content in the form of Excel or any other sources of information that they find useful to embellish the information, to really make decisions and insightful analysis. And lastly, both of these personas can then share their information through presentation layer of both analytic storyboards as well as through the web as well as through iPad support. So very quickly, because I don't want to belabor the point of the technology, you can see here the DataPoint environment is very robust. It has a lot of capabilities. It's for the technology user, and as you can see here, we feature rapid provisioning of data content, drag and drop, built-in analytics, and automation. The next component of the BI Suite is DecisionPoint, and DecisionPoint really focuses, as you can see, on ease of use. You have the beautiful ribbon toolbar where really if you pull in your content, you can very quickly reface or resurface the content with graphs and bar charts and whatnot. And last but not least is the Intelligence Central, which really allows for a robust collaboration. And this collaboration allows you to share content across the enterprise for both virtual content as well as persistent content. Last but not least is that these three tools all work together to create a very robust environment of self-service business intelligence with the design principles of increasing your ROI, lowering your total cost of ownership, focusing on governance and collaboration. And of course, no story would be complete without a customer use case. And at the University of Alaska, we had some customers there that had rolled out the Business Intelligence Suite, and their business analysts leveraged DataPoint. And they had very, very successful deployment of DataPoint to the point where some of their customers said that they love working with DataPoint. DataPoint provides a flexible drag-and-drop environment that enables them to integrate both SQL data with proprietary content such as SAS. It allows them to clean and enhance that content before sending it upstream to their business users. So we have a very quick quote from the results from the University of Alaska. Is that why they went from having some solutions that were very limitedly adopted to a widely adoption of the Toad Business Intelligence Suite's DataPoint. It's used in many different functional requirements, functional offices, varying the states of connectivity, and it's one of the primary values that it was deployed so widely was that it was so easy to use, had a very smooth implementation, very low maintenance, and as you can see here, the Director of Institutional Research, who really is a Director of BI, and has employees that enjoy using DataPoint every day. So to recap, the new version of Toad DataPoint, the new version of Toad BI Suite 2.0 has these very robust capabilities that feature storyboarding, which allows customers to share across the enterprise through iPad, through web access, and a variety of virtual deployments. As you can see here, we are able to consume our analytics storyboards through iPad. We actually, with the deployment of 2.0 and its new features, we've actually improved our data capabilities, including the capability, including performance and automation. We continue to build out our limitless connectivity library of capabilities, and as you can see here, we just list out a few: SAS, DynamoDB, and Amazon's Redshift. And last but not least, in 2.0 enjoys a brand new charting engine, which really gives our lay users even more power at their fingertips. And with that, I would be happy to turn it over to Rebekah Anderson to share with you her innovations at Concordia University.
Hello, everyone. My name's Rebekah Anderson, and I work at Concordia University as the Director of Business Intelligence. I have a little bit about myself, is that I've been working with data analysis and business intelligence for over 12 years. I've been at Concordia in a couple different positions, working with computers for about 11 years. And I'm currently working, I'm about halfway through my doctorate in business administration with a BI specialization. A little bit about Concordia is that our mission statement is that we are a Christian university preparing leaders for the transformation of society. I wanted to give you a little background of why the growth of our online program created such a shock to us and caused the need for something like the Toad BI Suite. Which was that we were just a really small school, and so small, kind of neighborhood, family feeling, that when I first started, we would, any student that lived in the dorms, we would walk over to the dorms and help them get in, set up for internet access so they could start using their computer. And so we just had this really this customer service focus with the students, where we wanted to give them everything they wanted. Then we have a lot of growth over the years, and you don't really need to, I know the chart's a little small to see, but I just wanted to show our growth. And basically in 2009, instead of growing at maybe 50 students a year, that increased to 100, and then in 2010, 150. In 2011, we just started increasing even more. And in 2011, our online population actually became comparable to our on-ground population, which before we were highly focused on on-ground. And then starting in 2011, we had a huge growth of over 600 students, and this year we have another huge growth, and we're actually predicting in the next couple years about 10,000 online students. With this rapid growth and the small school environment that I explained, we sort of weren't prepared at all for the growth and for the increased requests and just everything that was going on. So a few of the data challenges that I'm going to talk about today are the increased number of data sources that we were suddenly dealing with. The complexity of those data sources increased. There was new financial aid reporting requirements for online courses. We had a recruiting partner that we still have, but when they started, we needed to find a way to still share information with them, but without giving them access to all of our data. We had an increase in just staff that caused an increase in report requests and self-service reporting needs because they needed them more often. And we employed some contractors for the first time that had different hardware than our current, than the hardware that we can that we have at the university, which is all the same and unified. And so we had some problems associated with that. I wanted to talk a little bit about the number of data sources that we started with just our student information system, which is called Banner. A lot of universities use it. Pretty much before our growth, most of the data requests were just out of Banner. However, with our new partner and ramping up our recruiting efforts, they brought to us the CRM that they were using for recruiting that we used as well, which is in MySQL. After a couple years, we outgrew that and are now implementing a Salesforce CRM for education called TargetX, and that data is kept in the cloud. We also keep our course information, at least for the online courses, in the learning management system, which is Blackboard, which a lot of educational institutions use. And for the first time, we're asked to report on attendance for those online courses, which we had never had to do before. And then the only place that our network account information was stored was in a SQL server, along with some other random databases in there. Like I spoke about before, we have a new vendor or partner, as we like to call them, and we basically needed to start providing information to them, give them access to the population of students that they need to access. And like I said, they're in one of two CRMs, and plus more information is in Banner once they become an applicant. And so we, for the first time, needed to connect to multiple data sources and then also find a way to be able to make sure that they didn't access all the data. And of course, this partner didn't actually have data analysts that could create reports themselves. It just created an increase in requests for my team. For self-service reporting, we basically just the number of increase in reports made it so we couldn't keep creating the reports ourselves in the BI team. And so in addition to increase in staff and therefore data requests from them and increase in students, my team had an increase of responsibilities. Suddenly people needed more support with Banner, and business analyst support, how to streamline processes, and we have such a small IT department that all of those additional requests came to my team. And so not only was our data requests increasing, but we were having less and less time to focus on that. In addition, we had some contract employees that we had a tricky situation where because they didn't have our standard hardware that all of our staff have, and then we easily install the drivers and things that they need to use Microsoft Access to run reports. They just had their own computers, and they didn't have laptops that they could bring in, and they, were in remote locations, and so we started having a problem where we couldn't easily and quickly install the drivers that they needed. But they had needs where they couldn't wait for the report to just be sent once a day, or one of the reports that was needed from a contract employee, they needed to constantly refresh because it was showing what work they had to do. It was showing when other employees were finished with their part, and then this contract employees, it was their turn to start their project, and they needed to know it in just seconds after it was done. So all of these problems, I started researching different BI tools, and there's a few that are sort of education specific that I looked at, but to be honest, they were most of them were sort of like a glorified Microsoft Access, which I do not like and has its limitations. So so through my research, there was lots of different tools, but as you saw in the slides before this, we had so many different needs. We had so many different problems that, of course, being a nonprofit education, we didn't have the money to buy 5 different solutions for the different needs. On top of that, with such a short staff, and since we were already using Toad for data analysts, what it was called at the time, we starting to use the BI suite, there was no learning curve for our team. So the other products, there was just ample training involved in sort of converting reports we had already created into it. Another big thing was that the other solutions that I demoed would not connect to Salesforce, which since we had committed to our new CRM, that was imperative that we access Salesforce data, but could also connect with the other data sources at the same time. TargetX had some internal reporting capabilities, but that wasn't going to meet our needs when we needed to connect them to our student information system. The other thing that I liked about the Toad BI suite is just the flexibility of it. So we had already used automated reports, and that was a huge advance in our for dealing with data requests. So we had already set up some automated reports, and so it was perfect for our users who didn't want to think about it. They wanted the same report all the time, but they didn't want to have to request it, and they needed it just regularly, maybe once a week, and that was all they needed, and that was the perfect solution for that. With the BI suite, we have what we call power users in each department that are a little more familiar with querying, and DataPoint is really easy to use for them. DecisionPoint is great for those non-power users and non-technical users, but also for executives for making decisions. And then the different types of things we needed to do, like for governance, we needed to segregate our data and publish views for just our online students so our partner could access that data. We Didn't have to deal with the ODBC setup for contractors. If they just wanted to view the data and refresh it, I could set it up so they could just view it and not have to deal with any drivers. And the other thing that it allowed was that we could, for the really complex reports that took a lot of time to run and maybe resources, we could set it up to control that. So people could only refresh those complicated reports once a day, or that type of thing. And so that saved on, you know, just troubleshooting. Like if things are slow, you can make sure that it's not because of a report that somebody's just clicking refresh on that's, you know, locking up things. And the other important thing is that for the Toad BI suite, I really feel like it met all of our past needs, present needs, and future needs, and that was really important, like I said, because we were on such a limited budget. And the past is important, I think, for the most part, because, as I mentioned, we had so many automated reports already set up. We probably had over 100, and the thought of converting all those over to a new system was just daunting, and we didn't have time to do that. We didn't have, you know, a week to put on hold to learn a whole new tool that that we were unfamiliar with and learn all the nuances and that type of thing. We could just continue to use our the tool we were familiar with and not have to convert any automated reports. Those can just keep running the way they were. And then the biggest need that we have at present, I mean, there's a bunch, as I mentioned, but, you know, just publishing the reports, just having that additional option of somebody does not want it once a week or even once a day, but they want it on Tuesdays, they need it every 10 minutes, and then they don't need it for another month, or whatever the case may be. That was the piece that we were missing in our just being able to produce reports efficiently and meet the needs of pretty much all of our users. And then it also has options for the future. So we're obviously concentrating on meeting, you know, the most dire needs right now. But I didn't want to be limited to a tool that was just easy to use and pick up on. I also wanted something that will serve all our needs in the future, and one of the biggest things that we will implement and that I'm excited about is the dashboards and analytics of DecisionPoint that you know, we can truly start making more data-driven decisions, which, you know, our executives are coming around to, but once we get it all set up so they don't even have to request it or wait, then that'll just make things so much better. So it allowed me to be able to afford a solution that didn't cause any problems with the past way we had been doing business, provides us an immediate solution for the present, and also allows for the future, whatever those needs may be. So now, if you guys have any questions, Joanna and I are both available to answer questions on either one of our presentations.
Great. Thank you, Rebekah. It was a very interesting use case, and I'm excited that not only were we able to help your pressing problems, but we're positioning you to address your future problems as well. So I see we have some time for questions. So if any of you online have questions, feel free to type them into the question box, and one of us will field them. And I will pull the question box out. And I had a couple questions already come in. One of them is, I have existing BI environments today. How does Dell support my existing BI environment? So we're very appreciative of the fact that you have an existing BI environment. I think a lot of customers do have existing BI environments, and even if you don't call it an industry or an enterprise standard BI environment, Excel is the analyst environment of choice for many organizations, and so we recognize that. And as part of our solution, as you can recall, we are supportive of tools that are already in the industry, and so the BI suite is very complementary to existing BI infrastructure, and actually we support SAP Business Objects' metadata environment, the universe, as a source, along with the Oracle OBIE presentation layer as a source. And we have done that because we recognize that investments of knowledge have been made to build those metadata models, and as time evolves and as technology evolves, as you recall, a lot of these systems become less and less agile, and so these environments house a tremendous amount of institutional knowledge which can be shared and should be shared and leveraged across the enterprise to create a much more accurate view and a common definition of a lot of analytics. And so the answer to the question of what is your position around third-party solutions, Dell's business intelligence and business analytics position, and Toad BI Suite in particular, is very complementary. So I had a second question, which is, Rebekah mentioned that her experience was that environments were growing. She has more students, she has more systems, she has more commitments, she even has disparate systems such as Salesforce.com to contend with. And so one of my questions was, how do we address the data growth, and how do we set it up so that we can help, how does Dell handle that environment? And the answer to that question is, again, Toad BI Suite is built on top of the preeminent database management solutions, Toad. And so we enjoy, as I've mentioned before, nearly limitless connectivity to sources, which includes sources such as Salesforce.com, which they are leveraging at Concordia in its robustness, but also up-and-coming new sources of information, all the NoSQL sources. And I had mentioned that 2.0 is now supporting Amazon's Redshift as well as DynamoDB. But traditionally, we were one of the first to support Hadoop, and we were one of the first to support Cassandra. So we're very interested in supporting both relational, non-relational, SQL, NoSQL, and I bundled all that together as Toad BI Suite supports both traditional and non-traditional sources ubiquitously. And so the Dell solution for how to handle the exploding data environment is really to continue to leverage and build off of our investment of limitless connectivity and build out more connectors to those sources that come into the marketplace as important to our customers. And so as the future goes on, you can expect that the BI Suite will continue to build out our library of connectors. And in fact, recognizing that complementary technologies is an important capability, on the roadmap we'll be supporting other complementary enterprise BI standards in addition to the two that we support today. A third question that's come online is, how do I get more information about Toad BI Suite? And there are several places where you can go. As with many of our solutions, we offer a trial. So if you go out to Dell.software.com, you'll see that there are several places where you can learn more about the Dell Business Analytics solution set. It includes Toad BI Suite along with its children of products, but it also includes products such as Katanga Analytics Suite, which focuses on big data analytics, and it also has information around Quick Start Data Warehouse, which will enable you to build out analytic sandboxes and stand up data warehouses through a converged system and a very turnkey approach. So please feel free to explore our website, and of course, if you download a 30-day trial, you'll have the opportunity to meet one of our folks that looks after that, and they'll be reaching out to you to see if you'll need more information. I see that we are having a couple other questions. One is, what are the challenges you are currently facing in integrating different database connectors? That's a very interesting question. I can tell you that the shortest answer to that question is that, honestly, our challenges have been overcome through our nearly 15 years of experience with the Toad database management team. And so as they overcome all of the different database supports, we actually leverage their work, and we can, as we said, leverage their work and build that into the Toad BI suite. So the challenges are, of course, myriad, but we've overcome them throughout the years. You know, this may look like a new product on the marketplace from the analytics perspective, but on the data access and on the database connector side, we are old hands at that. So you can rely on our data connectivity because 3 million other Toad users leverage our data connectivity every day. So with that, I see that our question, so with anyone else have any other questions, now is the time to ask. Otherwise, I thank you all for bearing with us with the technical difficulties at the beginning. We will have a recorded version of this session for you to replay, which will have the technical problems resolved. So please feel free to go back onto the Modern Analyst site and click download there when those recordings become live. And Rebekah and I and all of Dell and all the folks at Dell, thank you for joining us today, and have a great afternoon.
Okay. Thank you, Rebekah and Joanna, for a very informative presentation, and thank you to everyone for attending today's Modern Analyst webinar. I wanted to point out that the webinar, along with the slides, will be archived at ModernAnalyst.com within a few days. This concludes today's event. We hope you have a great day.